What you're about to see is a very recent Andrew Tate interview where he talks to a psychotherapist. At the same time, this might be the only Andrew Tate interview that you will ever need to watch to get the perfect overview of his mindset and his beliefs. Make sure you watch it until the end, as this is already edited for those who don't have a lot of time or the necessary attention span to watch 1 or 2 hours straight. This is your opportunity to gain valuable life lessons for yourself.
I felt like anger was more, in many cases, anger is more effective, I guess. It's more useful.
You were angry in there?
I wouldn't say I was angry, but if I started to feel negative, I could turn it into frustration or anger, which I could at least alleviate with 2,000 push-ups. Right. It's better than feeling sorry for myself. Right. I feel like if I had to choose one of the two outlets, deciding to use controlled anger was more beneficial than sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I don't ever believe in moping or feeling sad. So when I was at my worst, perhaps I was a little bit angry. But then again, I also think I do that in my normal life. If I'm honest, I don't think anger is a necessarily bad thing. I think that misdirected anger is a bad thing. I think if you get very angry about scenarios and you put it in the correct direction, you get unlimited motivation and you get a lot done.
Anger can be used as a fuel and it's necessary. And from my framework, anger sometimes is a mask for pain.
I'd agree with that.
So did you experience pain in there? I know pain is a kind of an abstract word, but was it painful for you? Like, I want to know about your pain.
Yeah, it's strange because I'm being as honest as possible. It's strange because I had this instilled sense of duty where even though I'm in a jail cell and I can't leave, and even though I'm cripplingly bored, I don't feel like I had time to feel pain, or I didn't feel like I had time to be a victim.
You had nothing but time.
No, I didn't have time.
What are you talking about?
Because everyone outside still relied on me. So when I would get on the phone, people would say,
is that avoidance though?
I don't know.
Do you keep busy? Do you avoid your feelings by keeping busy, being on the computer all the time?
All the things I had to do still had to be done. Just because they threw me in a cell, it just made it more difficult, which means I have less time than ever because the difficulty's been increased. And when I would get on the phone, we wouldn't discuss how I'm feeling. I'd be worried about how everyone else is. They'd be like, how are you? Yeah, I'm in jail. What's going on with this? Are you okay? Are your bills paid? Are press hassling you? I was worried about fixing everyone else's problems from jail more than I was concerned about myself or my own mental well-being. And if I felt particularly, when I say pain is an awkward one. I don't know if I felt pain, because I don't feel sorry for myself, and I've developed this mindset of such absolute accountability that even though what happened to me I believe was unfair, and even though I'm completely innocent, I didn't think, why? I didn't think, why is this happening? I didn't think, why me? I didn't think, oh, this is unfair. Like, none of these things crossed my mind. I was like, this is garbage. However, you can't become the most Googled man in the world with every light has a dark, right? Like, let's be realistic about this.
Yeah.
I'm thrown in a jail cell. Do I belong here? No. But am I here? Yes. I was pretty logical about it. And I was like, okay, I've got a lot of things I need to get done. And I would feel angry if I couldn't get them done. But I don't think I felt pain. Now, I'll admit, I don't sleep very well since I've left.
Why?
I can admit
Do you know why? I heard you say in one interview that you have nightmares.
I do have nightmares. Yeah.
What are your nightmares about?
I don't think they're about anything. I just have almost like an adrenaline rush out of nowhere while I'm sleeping, and I shoot up. I bolt awake.
No thoughts, no memories, no
visions. Real thoughts, no real story.
Fear, that's fear.
I guess it is, yeah.
So so let's just, your dreams are a reflection of the unconscious. And if you're having nightmares, there must be some unresolved fear that wants to get worked out.
I believe so, but then also, I love the idea of that. Of having unresolved fear. That sounds like the most interesting thing in the world to me. If someone were to say to me, Andrew, take this pill and your unresolved fear will vanish, I would say absolutely and utterly not. That's not fun. The fun is there's something in my mind which I don't have complete control or complete understanding of yet, and it's not detrimenting my day-to-day life really. Okay, I lose a bit of sleep, but this sounds like an interesting journey. It sounds like I'm in a new level of the video game and I've been thrust into a dark forest and I get to do something brand new, and I'm really genuinely not worried about it.
You're not, yeah, you shouldn't be worried about it. It's just where you are.
I'm not worried about it, and I'm also not like, oh, I need to fix this. I don't care. I'll have nightmares and I'll wake up and then I'll either go back to sleep or I'll continue to work, and that's life.
Maybe life will keep giving you situations in which you'll have to confront that fear to resolve it.
Why would I want to resolve it?
Well, because...
I mean, if I'm really that tired, I'll sleep.
No, but fear creates distortions in our mind, right? I mean, fear is the seed of evil. Right? And so we want to know what we're afraid of, because if we block our fear, we're susceptible to bad actions, right? And fooling ourselves about what they are, rationalizing. So I would argue that it's actually vital for you in the position that you are in and the responsibility that you have to actually confront your fear in a very real way, which probably goes back to your childhood. I mean, your dad was, the haircut story, and I don't know if you want to talk about that, if you're willing, but that's it. When I read that, I'm thinking about that little boy. It must have been fucking terrifying.
It is, but I do think I had the best father on earth.
I'm not disputing that. I mean, there's a lot of good that came from your father. I'm not disputing that your father was a good man. When you say he could go from 0 to 100 like that for a little boy,
It's scary.
it's fucking scary.
It is, but
And that fear has to be in you. You don't know what the fuck he's gonna do.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
But I think that's prepared me for life fantastically. And I also think the fear.
But have you reached a limit? Have you
tolerance?
of the video game? I mean, you're facing all these charges, right? So something, and maybe this is what you need to go through. I mean, you're on the hero's journey, right? And this is inevitable in some way. But also along the hero's journey, you have to die to be reborn.
That's true. And I agree with all of that. But if I'm genuinely, I psychoanalyze myself all the time, which is one of the main reasons I don't believe in therapy and psychoanalysis.
psychoanalyze yourself.
Of course you can. I do it myself.
You don't think that's hubris?
No.
You can know your own mind, that you don't need reflection from others to see yourself, that you can see yourself perfectly?
I think that, no, I don't think I can see myself perfectly, but I think that life is a perfect reflection.
But why not get help? Why not?
Because then it becomes a crutch. I like the idea that I can rely on myself to fix myself.
Well, you have a coach. Is that a crutch?
No, it's not, because he's teaching me something.
What's the difference?
That's fine, but if I had an affliction, I would like to be my own doctor. And I think with your mind, you can do a lot of it yourself. And I think if you have a very strict framework in how you measure how successful you are as a human, and I do it through competence and achievement, I say, which mindset do I need to achieve as much as I can possibly achieve?
Right.
And I can measure that in real time. I can measure that in literally dollars and world championship title belts. I can literally measure the success. I'll say, okay, well then this is the mindset I need to have to be as successful as possible. Anything that's deviating me away from that needs to be addressed and concerned and dealt with, and I can do that myself. And I think the fear that if it's fear that's waking me up from nightmares now, it's just because I understand there's a very big apparatus, a very big enemy which I cannot destroy and I cannot beat coming to get me. So I do think that wakes me up. I think the fear is healthy. I think I'd be stupid to not be afraid. But I don't necessarily want the fear to go away because I have no problems feeling bad.
Well, it's not about going away. It's coming into deeper relationship with it. And understanding that there's fear that's happening in real time, but there's also fear that may be in your psyche somewhere, in your body, that's connected to your history, and that may need to be resolved, because otherwise you're projecting things out that you may not be seeing reality totally clearly. That's the thing, right? Is there a way that you're not seeing things perfectly clearly?
Well, then we go back to what I just said about perhaps that's true, but if I measure myself purely on competence and purely on achievement, whatever I think and whatever I'm doing is obviously fantastic. So I'm very happy with the mindset I have. And then we go into the argument, which is a level deeper, is am I supposed to be happy? Am I supposed to feel good?
No, it's not happy.
No, of course, but this is what I don't understand about people, especially men in the world today. Why are they so worried about being afraid? Why are they so worried about, I was afraid every time I fought.
Yeah.
I fought anyway.
Yeah.
I don't let fear guide what I'm gonna do. I do what I'm supposed to do regardless of how I feel. So I don't see anything wrong with feeling fearful. I don't see anything wrong with feeling stressed or under pressure or anxious. All these things men are trying to get rid of. And I talk about men specifically. I gender this because I'm a man. I don't know how it feels to be a woman. But all these things that people are trying very hard to get rid of from their brains, I don't see why they need to leave. I will argue the point that if I feel anxious and pressured and stressed and fearful, I will get more done than if I was happy. I think if I was happy, I'd just be hedonistic and just wasting my time. I think that you get a whole bunch done with these negative connotations and negative emotions, and I think that life is suffering and pain, and you're here to go through it, and the sooner you get used to the taste, the more successful you're going to be. I have no interest in trying to change the flavor, my friend. The flavor of life is pain, and I will eat all of it. And it doesn't matter if they put me back in jail or not. I'm not sitting there going, how can I be happy in jail? I will sit in jail and say, yes, this sucks. It's supposed to suck. Yes, I'm not enjoying this. Yes, I'm anxious and paranoid. And yes, that guy might stab me. And yes, I can't sleep, and I miss my family. And this is what's supposed to happen to me. And this is how I become the best man I can possibly be. And I'm going to succeed regardless.
You're very convincing. You're so good though, right? It's almost like I feel like you can rationalize anything, right? It's almost like a trick.
Magic trick?
Well, you're really good at talking, you're really smart, and it's almost like any question you can turn and make it work for you, which is great. It's a skill, but there's also a place where there's the potential for self-delusion.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not even going to sit here and say that I'm not delusional to a degree. I'm not saying that self-delusion doesn't exist. We all are, right? Let me give you a very simple example. Let me try and use an analogy. I think the only thing better than having everything you want is not wanting anything, right? So I have every car on this planet. I have 40 supercars. Most people want a supercar. I have 40. But there's that unique 0.1% of people who genuinely don't want one. And I think that's more freeing than having everything you want, right? So the true mindset is not wanting anything. Most people, the best they can do is having everything they want. And I feel like you can kind of do this with the emotions as well. I guess my general consensus is that I don't think I can change or affect the world to the point where pain and suffering and bad things are not going to happen. So isn't it best if I just enjoy all of that? Doesn't that make me as powerful as possible if I say, oh yeah, okay, this is gonna suck, good. I mean, I do it when I fight. Yesterday I was fighting, right? We were doing 12 rounds and all of us were destroyed. And the more he hurt me, the more I wanted to hurt him back. The more he hurt me, the better it felt. The more powerful I felt, the more he hit me. Because then it's my turn, right? So if I can't stop him from punching me, and I'll do my best, but if I can't, then surely you should learn to enjoy it, right? And I don't think you can stop life from hitting you. And I don't think you can stop life from giving you unexpected surprises. And I don't think you can stop yourself from feeling sometimes sad or anxious or upset. So I think the best mindset you could adopt is finding that engaging and exciting. I'm not gonna lie to you. Although I am facing very serious charges, and although they are trying to destroy my life, and although I cannot sleep the same, and although they're out to get me, and although I've suffered, part of me is excited. Part of me is like, okay.
Why?
Because it's a war.
You like war?
I think all men do.
I do.
Yeah, of course, all men do. Yeah. So it's a battle.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. So I'm not saying I'm glad it happened, because I'm certainly not. And I'm not saying I'm gonna win. But I'm saying that I've trained myself to the point where if I were walking down the street and 10 men were to pull knives on me, I'd be intimidated, but 20% of me would go, this will be one to remember.
Do you have a belief that you could take 10 men with knives?
I have a belief that, yeah, I do. Because
that's
delusional.
That's delusional.
Yeah, but it gives me a best chance of possibly winning.
Well, no, running away would give you the best chance of possibly winning, then coming back and being safe, and then serving out your mission.
Of course, I would run away in that scenario. But if I had to engage them, if I had to engage them,
right.
If I had to fight them, I believe I'd be the most capable if I believed I could win.
Of course.
So for that reason, if I have to self-delude, then I will self-delude, and I will convince myself that I am here to destroy all 10 of them, and I will say it in a way where at least 7 of them believe me. And that's the most important part sometimes about all of this self-delusion, is that a lot of other people start to believe what you say. And I'm not saying that I say bad things. If a man were to sit in front of you and say, I can rip your head off with my little finger, and he said it in the right terms, and he truly believed it in his heart, you wouldn't want him to try. As ridiculous as that sounds, you'd be like, it's kind of big, maybe. You know, it crosses your mind. So I think that, yeah, I have psychoanalyzed myself, even though I'm not officially, certified. And I've decided that I can't stop bad things from happening to me. So instead, I'm going to enjoy bad things happening to me. And I'm going to build a mindset that makes me fearsome enough to succeed regardless of how stacked the odds are against me.
Yeah. And I appreciate your mindset, and it's well thought out, and it's useful to you. And so I'm just pushing up against the places where I think there might be contradictions.
And I like to hear it.
Yeah.
I like to hear it, but like I said right now, I'm not a coward. And I want to make this very clear. I'm not a coward. I don't care if I don't sleep again for the rest of my life. I refuse to take any fucking pill, and I refuse to sit and have my mind altered by anything I do not control. I don't care if I have nightmares for the rest of human time.
Right.
As long as I'm in charge of my mind, I'm in charge of my life, If God decides that I don't need nightmares anymore, I'll fathom out how to stop it. If God decides I need to wake up in the middle of the night in a sweat, fearful or afraid they're coming to get me, then that's God's plan for me, and that's what I'm going to deal with. I'm not a coward. I'm not afraid of any of these things. I'm not afraid of feeling bad. I'm not afraid of anxiety. I'm not afraid of panic. This is one of the things I think a lot of men out there struggle with, is they're so worried and afraid of bad feelings. And to me, that's just showing that you've had an easy life. Like, there's real people out here who are trying to kill you. There's people out here who put a knife in your neck. You're scared of what? Feeling sad? Who cares? Like, there's real problems. What are you worried about feeling sad for? Who gives a shit? I could feel sad for the rest of my life, and I guarantee, one, nobody would know, and two, I would be monumentally successful regardless. So why are we even talking about it? I have no fear for a negative feeling. I have fear for me not being able to provide for my children. I have fear for people who rely on me not being provided for and cared for, but I don't have a single, I don't wake up and go, I'm worried if I might feel sad today. Who cares? Who cares? I can be happy or sad on the same day. Nobody notices, and the same things get done. The exact same amount of work gets done. Nothing changes.
I really hope you could learn something from that interview or had the chance to strengthen your own mindset. Anyways, to wrap things up, let's take a look at this comment from an apparent millionaire. Of course, I can't confirm if that's true, but this is not the comment that I'm talking about. Let's click on answers and see this. Massive success is the best revenge in the world. This, my guys, is so fucking true. This also traces back to the interview with Rob Moore, where Andrew releases very secret details of the Matrix getting in contact with him. And that's the thing. Once you have a strong mindset, complete enlightenment, and you're rich, the Matrix no longer cares about you being compliant. You made it now. You get to enjoy life. You get to do whatever the fuck you want. You can buy whatever you want, because you realized money isn't real, and there are people in this world who can point at things and get it instantly. You're completely free now. Under one circumstance though. Don't ever try to free others. Don't even inform people that this society is rigged and you're exploited in real time.
And yeah, they don't want anybody's morals or religion or point of view standing in the way. They just want you to comply.
And who is they?
Well, that's a good question. Even if I knew all their names, I wouldn't say it here. But
why wouldn't you say it here?
I wouldn't say it here because they've already given me quite a few warnings. And I'm now at the point where I actually truly believe they're going to try and kill me.
So you've had messages from people trying to control you who you think would kill you?
I understand that you get 3 strikes in this game. Strike 1 is they try and shut you up and discredit you, which I've just been through. Strike 2 is they try and put you in jail for no reason, and strike 3 is they kill you. And one of my strikes is now gone, and I now firmly believe that they're going to try and kill me because they want me to be quiet, and I'm not being quiet. And I have huge amounts of influence, which is what they're scared of. Because influence is what influence is what the world is about, right? If you send soldiers to a country to die, if you have literally a pitched battle on any country on the planet with tanks and planes and people are dying, that's only to control the ground so you can influence it. Like, all of that is for influence. The media is for influence. What they tell people to believe, the mindsets they want you to adopt, is so they can influence you. So when somebody like me comes along who has a mass amount of influence and it's going in a direction they're contrary to, they sit and go, wow, this is a big problem from one person. And people have car accidents, people get robbed, people get shot. And that's the unfortunate reality of human nature. When you are a very large problem for very powerful people, they look for quick solutions, and the easiest solution is to kill me. And I think it's going to get there if I'm not extremely careful. So yeah, they dislike me not just because of what I say, because everybody knows what I say is true, but because of the huge amount of influence I have, and also the influence I have over the one demographic they're most fearful of, which are the young military-age males. They're the demographic that they need to keep under control the most, because those are the ones who will lead a revolution. Those are the ones who are naturally rebellious. Those are the ones you need to fight in your armies. Those are the ones you need to be the backbone of the slave force and build the roads for a shit wage. Those are the ones you need to sit in a sexless marriage and raise kids while they're depressed and turn up and pay their taxes anyway. That demographic is the backbone of the economy, of the defense of a nation. They're the number one enemy to the state if they decide to get in a big group together. Like, I don't want to be misogynistic, I've been accused of it enough, but if 100,000 women get in one place and complain, it's inconvenient. If 100,000 men get in one place and complain, it's a revolution.
So they're scared of men free thinking, and they're scared of young men free thinking. And my fans are young military-age males, and I teach them to free think. So they look at me and they literally see me as a threat to the world, and that's why I think they're going to try and kill me.
So you said you now have to be careful. So what are you changing about what you're doing to not get killed?
I'm as perspicacious as I can be.
What does that mean?
Perspicacious is the ability to perceive, perceptive.
Right. Yeah.
I'm as perspicacious as I can be, but I'm also very understanding that if they want me, they're going to get me. It's an unfortunate reality. It's very easy to kill people, especially at their level, right? If they want me, they're going to get me. All I'm doing is trying to stay true to myself, stay true to God, because I truly believe this is a battle of good versus evil, and say the things I know need to be said in a way which is respectful enough and important enough so that the powers that be decide that it's okay if I stay alive. But if they decide the opposite, then there's very little I can do about it. And of course, I have a 10-man security team, everyone's armed, I carry a weapon, like, et cetera, et cetera. But if they want you, they're gonna get you. That's the game. So it's kind of, people often say to me, well then Andrew, why do you do this? Why do you talk? And I really believe we're living at a pivotal point in history. As AI gets better, as technology gets better, as they get more and more control over the money and the way people think and the way people move, I think that absolute slavery and tyranny is coming to the entire world. I think our children's children will live as slaves. I think the idea of social mobility will be absolutely and utterly destroyed. You're going to be born into a class, and that's where you're going to belong and stay. If you say the wrong thing or think the wrong thing, you're going to be punished for it. And I think this is one of our last chances to fight. And I think it's a battle of good versus evil. It's genuinely God against the demons. And I know that I'm on the side of God, and I'm a strictly religious person. And I couldn't live with myself if I didn't talk. And if God decides that I have to be martyred for that, then that's his decision. So it's unfortunate, but that's what happens when you have mass amounts of influence. Why, and this is a question to you, if you had control of the world and you spent huge resource and energy on media machines to make people think a certain way, and somebody like me came along and made everybody not listen, would you like that person? Would you want that person to continue to talk? What if you tried to go to him and say, listen, shut up, we've warned you now, and he wouldn't shut up? What would you do?
Well, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'd probably try and collaborate with you. But they're not entrepreneurial at that level, are they?
But even if they try and collaborate with me, and that's actually an interesting topic because I've had strange offers, let's put it that way, I won't sell my soul. A lot of people do, right?
What does sell your soul mean?
It means that you sign a piece of paper and you shut up.
Right.
For X amount of money, or X amount of influence, whatever.
Yeah, by collaborate, I don't mean pay you and shut you up. I mean, let's do some business together. Let's change the world.
Completely, but the way they want to change the world is not the way I will ever allow them to try and change the world. I don't agree with what they're doing. I think what they're doing is anti-humanist. I think what they're doing is truly evil. And I won't sell my soul. They can't convince me to sit and tell the children what they want the children to believe. And normally when you sign a contract and you become a music star or a sports star or whatever, you shut up because you have sponsors, you have money, you can get canceled, etc. You have to be quiet. And I'm not in that position. So they try and get a degree of leverage over you. I've had very strange offers.
Can you share any of them?
I had phone numbers appear from nowhere, WhatsApp conversations. I'd have no idea who this person was or how they got my number, inviting me to very private parties and very private places. I had my own phone calls played back to me. I've answered the phone before, and it's a recording of me on the phone, and that's all it is.
Wow.
And I probably shouldn't say these things on YouTube, but this is the reality of the world I'm now living in. So, yeah, there's things that have happened that have been like, Andrew, you better shut up. But I don't think I'm actually saying anything that's detrimental, and if this is watched by anybody influential, all I'm trying to do is teach men to be true to themselves and be true to the power that's inside of them, God-given. And I think that the world will always be a better place in the end that way. And I'm also very understanding that societies to a degree need to be controlled. Obviously, you can't have every secret out there in the open. But I think that the direction that the West is going especially is truly evil, and I think that somebody needs to stand up and talk about it. I think the things they're trying to convince people to believe and do are not the way that God wanted us to do.
When we were talking before we went live, you said you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And By the way, I said we were going to do 6 rounds with Andrew, and we've sort of done most of rounds 1 and 2.
Yeah, bro, I can talk, I know.
Yeah, and I'm really enjoying this, so thank you.
No problem.
So, when and how did you know that they who control the world were coming for you and that your influence had grown too powerful?
I knew because of the orchestration of the attacks. The attacks were exceptionally well orchestrated, and there's no such thing as coincidence in my world. Like I said, my mental model allows me to predict the future, and if I believed in coincidence, then I would have been surprised when I was canceled. But I don't believe in coincidence because I've learned that is never true. So every single day I get a report from my staff that analyzes all social medias and news outlets because it's our job.
As in your social media or the social media?
The world.
Yeah.
Where I am, what's being said about me, how many comments are positive, how many comments are negative, percentages, etc. I get a report daily.
Yeah.
I got that report, looked pretty good, looked pretty easy. Went to sleep, woke up the next day, 150 different news publications.
Wow.
With the same version of a story that I'm misogynistic, with basically the same words slightly rewritten, in absolute sync. Is that a coincidence? It can't.
Well, you don't believe in them, so.
It can't possibly be. How can 150 from New Zealand and Australia to Norway to America all decide the same day to write the same version of the same story? Then, 3 days later, 35 prominent LGBT influencers did an Instagram post with the same picture and the same wording saying that I'm dangerous to the world. In perfect sync, within the same 6 minutes. Post. Algorithms hyping it up, getting it millions and millions of likes and views and comments. This was an orchestrated attack. So once I understood the attack was orchestrated by someone powerful enough to affect the world's news, I understood the chance of me not being deleted is now 0. It's a matter of time. So I wrote a comment, I wrote a post saying that there's a lot of attention on me right now. As God's soldier, I'm going to turn negativity into positivity. Every like this post gets, I'm going to donate money to charity. That was my post. I put that up. News articles all around the world completely ignored it, even though I'd pledged $3 million to charity in front of everybody. Completely ignored all of it. No, only negative news about Andrew right now. And there was orchestrated attacks, one after another. Boom, 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 boom. To the day I was first removed from Facebook and Instagram was the initial ban. And from there, it was dominoes effect.
Do you know people now get their post shut down if they share a photo of you with them?
Yep.
Well, of course you do, but
yeah. If you take a selfie with me and put it on Instagram, they'll delete it. They're trying to.
And they'll warn you.
They'll try. To
I've seen the warnings.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
They'll try to unperson me. They want me to disappear from public consciousness. And this is my exact point. I am the first person they've attempted to do this to, where they have genuinely failed. I'm more famous now than I was before the ban. They have failed. What happens is if you shoot somebody with your weapon and he doesn't die, you find a new weapon. This all goes back to what I was saying earlier. I know what they're thinking.
So this is, I wanted to talk about this because I don't know that cancel culture exists because, well, it doesn't for you and it doesn't for Joe Rogan. Because try and cancel someone and actually they just get more fucking famous.
Well, Rogan wasn't canceled because he stayed on Spotify. He was never truly deleted.
No.
But cancel culture certainly does exist. It happens every single day to people who are just not as big as me. Every single day people are being annihilated in real time. If you want to see cancel culture, I recommend you look at the last 3 years of this pandemic and ask about anybody who stood up and said, this is bollocks. Ask them about their social media accounts, because they ain't fucking got any. Small people get wiped out daily by the thousands.
But can't they just keep talking and
to who?
More famous?
To who?
Well,
how?
Your accounts have been shut down, you're bigger than ever.
Completely, because I am an exceptionally difficult target. That's why I'm gonna end up dead. Most people, when they lose their social medias and their banks, they're done. They can't talk. I can sit and I have a network of thousands of people around the world. I like I said earlier, I have a very competent network inside the war room. I'm massively influential. I can sit and talk on other people's podcasts. I can fly around the world to end up at the right place at the right time. I have all of the youth's energy behind me. If you're a normal person saying, they're making me take an injection I don't want to take, this is bullshit, and they delete your Facebook, who the fuck are you gonna talk to? You're gonna go stand on the corner and yell at passerbys? People have tried that too. That doesn't work. Once they silence you, you're done. Thousands of people are being silenced every day because what did I say earlier about the Matrix? They want to tell one side of the story and they have to delete the opposite side to create a false version of reality. That's how the Matrix works. So cancel culture is super real.
Yeah.
You just don't hear about the people who are canceled. It's survivorship biased.
I hope you could get a better understanding of what I mean now, and if you still don't believe me, watch the full interview. I'll put a few links of very well-made videos about this topic in the video description for you to watch and hopefully bring you to a realization. So, as always, advance your life. See ya.